What's going on, everyone? Rachel West here along with Rick Stroud and Joey Knight. And guys, it's Bears week. Got them Sunday afternoon. Last year's Bears game, Rick, didn't go so good. The best thing to come from it maybe was Tom Brady's meme with him holding up the 4, honestly, and that says a lot. So what did they learn from that game that can help them this year?
Well, I mean, hopefully Tom Brady will know what down it is. He hadn't done that in 20 years, and he's had a pretty good sense of humor about it. But really, it was a game in which they beat themselves. They had a ton of penalties, particularly on a couple drives that they really needed to win the game. They led the game most of the way. And I think that, they learned that the Bears defense is pretty good. I mean, this is, forget about the records and the rookie quarterback. I mean, this is a good team they're playing. So they're back in a situation where they need to cut down on penalties again. They're not doing a good job. I think they've had like 24, 25 pre-snap penalties on both sides of the ball. So they can't go out there and do that, obviously. It'll be a home game. That'll help with the noise. So I think they'll clean that part up. But, it's not a good memory, and you want to wipe that one away.
Exactly. And Joey, how do they kind of wipe away those penalties and those mental mistakes that they've been having here recently?
Well, it's funny. They did wipe them away after that Chicago game. Mm-hmm. After that game, the Bucs were the least penalized team in the NFL all the way through, right up into the Super Bowl, and that was really key to their championship run. That the penalty problem has come back to haunt them this year for whatever reason, and short of making the guys run stadiums and do up-downs, Bruce Arians has done everything he can to stress that. Didn't work last week in Philadelphia. They committed more than 100 yards in penalties, but 2 of those were on pass interference whistles, spot fouls, totaling 95 yards. It's been emphasized so much. I just can't see that resurfacing in this game because, again, it's been stressed. It's been a sore spot. I see things starting to taper off in terms of penalties. I just expect they're going to play a cleaner game Sunday.
Hopefully so, or else stadium runs, up, downs might be the move. And it's no secret that the Bucs are facing a ton of injuries right now, Rick. So where do we stand with all of those?
Well, we'll start with the good news. They're going to get Antoine Winfield Jr. back there, safety, who's been out with a concussion. He passed protocol on Thursday. We've seen him practice 3 days in a row. So that's the positive. The negative is, of course, still no Rob Gronkowski, right? No Levante David, who's a key part of this defense. Who am I missing? There's somebody else I think that might be. Oh, Antonio Brown, who's been their hottest receiver, is not going to play in this game. So Tyler Johnson will get a chance to step in there. But, again, this is something they've sort of been dealing with all year. We're going to see Jason Pierre-Paul try to play. I don't know if he'll play the entire game. Maybe Joe Tryon-Shawinka gets more reps. So there's a lot of battered guys on that side of the ball, but they've managed to hold it together. And against the Bears team that's last in the league in passing and doesn't have their top running backs, this should be a game with a rookie quarterback that they can survive.
Right. They do have a pretty good defense, though, Joey. Khalil Mack is kind of one of the big guys up there. So stopping him, the rest of the defense, is that going to be the key to the game this week?
Sure. It's going to be a concern. And we all know the Bears have athletes on that side of the ball. That's kind of what their cornerstone is. A couple of their big names are questionable. Akeem Hicks, I believe he's on the injury report. Robert Quinn is on the reserve COVID-19 list, has been for a few days. As we tape this, he's still questionable. So they're a little dinged up like the Bucs. And let's face it, if Tom Brady and his group goes out and does their job and gets their 28, 35 points, that should be enough to beat a team like this. But, that's why we go out and play the games. But this looks like a Bears team that, again, if the Bucs go out and take care of business, if Tom Brady is still efficient Tom Brady, if they cut down on the penalties, the Bucs should prevail on paper.
Right, and the Michigan alum in Tom Brady is probably going to come out a little bit, too. There's that extra motivation playing Justin Fields, obviously, from Ohio State. Right. So I'm sure that not that Tom Brady needs extra motivation ever, but that'll be there for him. So everyone, make sure you're keeping up with all of our coverage leading up to the game and of the game as well over on social media at Sports by Tampa Bay Times, as well as tampabay.com.